Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q1 FY2026 earnings conference call, Apcotex Industries Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during this conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touch-tone phone. Please note that your conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to hand the conference over to Ms. Nupur Jain Kunia from Valorem Advisors. Thank you and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all. My name is Nupur Jain Kunia from Valorem Advisors. We represent the investor relations of Apcotex Industries Limited. On behalf of the company, I would like to thank you all for participating in the company's earnings call for the first quarter of financial year 2026. Before we begin, a quick cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's conference call may be forward-looking in nature. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risk and uncertainties, which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's beliefs as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. The purpose of today's earnings conference call is purely to educate and bring awareness about the company's fundamental business and financial quarter under review. Now, I would like to introduce you to the management participating with us in today's earnings call and hand it over to them for their opening remarks. We have with us Mr. Abhiraj Choksey, Vice Chairman and Managing Director. Without any further delay, I request Mr. Abhiraj Choksey to start with his opening remarks. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nupur. Good afternoon, everyone. There is an echo, Nupur. Can I request you to press on mute? So, thank you again. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you to the earnings conference call for the first quarter of financial year 26. With me, I also have our CFO, Mr. Vivek Thakur, and our GM Finance, Mr. Suraj Badale. I hope you have had an opportunity to review the financial statements and earnings presentation, which have been circulated and uploaded on our website and the stock exchanges. Let me provide you with a brief overview of the financial performance for the first quarter ended 30th June 2025. The operating revenue for Q1 FY2026 stood at rupees 376 crores, reflecting a year-on-year growth of around 12%. Operating EBITDA stood at around 39 crores. That's a robust 22% year-on-year growth. And the operating EBITDA margin improved to 10.3%, up from 9.45% in Q1 of FY25. There was a strong growth on PAT as well, with a total profit after tax this quarter of rupees 19 crores. The PAT margin for the quarter was 5.11%. The strong performance was driven by the highest ever quarterly sales volumes. Overall, our volumes grew by 25% year-on-year, even though the revenue grew only by 12%. Combination of product mix, I guess, and of course, raw material prices are lower in Q1 of this year compared to Q1 of last year. Overall 25% year-on-year volume growth, and I would say mainly driven by export revenues that grew by 37% year-on-year as far as revenue in terms of rupees crores is concerned. And overall exports contributed to 37% of the overall revenue. So the highest ever that we have had in terms of exports. I'm also happy to report that we have delivered consistent sales volume growth for 6 straight quarters. Improvement in EBITDA margins were also driven by higher volumes and improved capacity utilization, reflecting enhanced operating leverage and cost efficiencies. Overall, while the environment around still remains fairly uncertain, especially around the tariffs and several geopolitical tensions, our capacity utilization in Q1 for the latex plant in Taloja is at about 85%, and our Valia nitrile latex plant was around 90%. And for NBR and other products, we're pretty much running at almost 100% capacity utilization. So we will be planning certain debottlenecking and expansion projects, which we will announce shortly once the details are finalized. With this, we can now open the floor for the question and answer session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to 1 or 2 per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, we would request you to rejoin the question queue. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Dhaval Shah from Girik Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible? Hello?
Hi, Dhaval. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Yeah, hi. My question is with respect to the export performance. It has been phenomenal, 25% volume growth. Can you share more details about the reasons you think for such a good performance on the export front? With respect to, has it been more a product approval with our customer, competition from other countries, other exporters? Has it weakened or some other factor? And how do you see going forward from a strategic perspective? We are at 37% of our revenue for the exports. How do you see this number going forward? And also a little bit from a longer term perspective, how do we, once we do an expansion, what will be our strategy with respect to the exports? Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Dhaval, for the question. So just to correct you, there's been a 37% growth in volumes for exports. The value. 37% value growth in exports. And that is, yes, largely come from new approvals. As you know, on nitrile latex business, we are at almost now 100% capacity utilization. I would say about 90% capacity utilization, not 100%. So we are at about 90% in Q1. So obviously a lot of new approvals have come through. We have been aggressive in terms of gaining market share as well. And in addition to that, there have been some new products launched for some specialty applications and construction applications, which have also resulted in this increase in export revenue and export customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do we see this share going forward?
Overall, I think once, if you recall, and I think you've been there on previous calls, when we did about 200 odd crores, 220 crores of expansion, which we commissioned in March, April 2023, so it's been a little over 2 years, and we had said that at that time we were a little over 1,000 crores in revenue, and we had said that with these expansion projects, we would be looking at about 16 to 1700 crores in about 3 years. I think we're on a run rate to get there, this, if not this year, then early next year, a quarterly run rate. So that's what we're delivering on. And we also had said that it will be about 40 to 45% would be exports out of that. And I think that's where we will end up by next year, somewhere between 42%.
Great.
And the idea is not just for the sake of doing exports, just to, it was also, if you again recall from about 10-15 years ago, Apcotex has been mainly a domestic company, and we were mainly, dependent on the India market. Now, obviously, we have diversified just as a diversification strategy, that we do want a good chunk of our revenues to come from outside India, and which is what has happened. But India still remains our main strategic market with over 60% of our revenue.
Got it. And second question is with respect to our exports to Turkey. Given the kind of hostility in terms of relationship between the two countries, have you seen any impact on your revenue?
Not because of the political issues between the two countries. I think our sales, we've definitely had higher revenues to Turkey in the past. But I would say it's more because of these wars and issue around the Suez Canal, that sometimes it's taking longer to get to Turkey, the material. As a result of it, some customers, are not too comfortable with the long lead time. So that is the main reason why business to Turkey has been affected. I think maybe 2-3 years ago would have been our highest sale to Turkey. It's definitely dropped since then. But of course, it's been made up from other countries, and we continue to do business in Turkey.
Got it. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Aditya Khetan from Smith Institutional Equities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for the opportunity. The first question, sir, in this quarter, obviously nitrile latex and FBR latex both have contributed to volumes, but that has not flown to EBITDA. Any particular reason, like cost, you had mentioned that the cost, so that the raw material prices are lower. The RM prices are lower and volumes are kicking in. Ideally, also gross margin could have picked up, but it is lower compared to YOY and quarter-on-quarter.
Yeah, I think the reason why is because the average EBITDA margins for nitrile latex are much lower than our average EBITDA margins, and obviously a good growth has come from there. So in spite of getting some operating leverage due to increase in quantities, the truth is that nitrile latex margins are still not great because of overcapacity. So while we have pushed through with volumes, the margins still remain a challenge and they're still fairly low. So without nitrile latex, our margins would be maybe, we'll have to do the exact calculation, but at least a couple of percentage points higher.
Got it. Sir, this number, like we were earlier talking of 600 crore addition to the top line. So 400 crore already has been added in a span of 3 years. But sir, that has again not flown to EBITDA, like as you mentioned that nitrile latex has lower margins. Sir, when you see like that picking point would be like any particular quarter you see wherein we would start making better margins in nitrile latex, because that was our earlier ambition when we started this project.
Yeah, sure.
When you see like margins returning to normal?
I would say we have added 400 crores in about 2 years, not 3 years. And then as you'll see that over the next one year or so, further addition would happen. So, hopefully 1,600 crores or so by next year or a little bit higher. I agree. Look, what happened post-COVID was unexpected. I mentioned in many calls that first there was a lot of gloves inventory, then a lot of overcapacity, which continues in the industry. Difficult to say when it would turn. We've also in the middle had a better quarter, like Q4 we thought was a better quarter, than the US tariffs uncertainty started, and Q1 has again been not such a great quarter in terms of EBITDA for nitrile latex. I would say it's been a little lower than Q4. Again, we see improvement in Q2, but until we now see 2-3 quarters of consistent improvement, we won't really know where the market is going. So there's a lot of uncertainty around these tariffs, as you know, and finally where it'll land, we won't know perhaps for another couple of quarters. And that's affected the glove industry. It's affected, because there's glove industries in China, Malaysia, Thailand, so Vietnam, Sri Lanka, everywhere. So eventually it's about, how those tariffs will affect, because the US does remain remains the largest market for medical gloves.
Got it. Sir, just one last question. Sir, onto the demand of end user, so like the paper and construction, which is still muted, like till last quarter we were mentioning that. How has that changed materially? And sir, second, onto the expansion, like so debottlenecking, we are planning to complete that by this fiscal end, and what would be the capex and the amount of the capacity expansion?
Yeah. So to mention, paper and domestic market overall does remain challenging. No question, there is overall feels like a slowdown, but we have still pushed through. As I said, some pockets have grown, not as much as exports, of course, but some pockets have grown. As far as expansion plans are concerned, I mentioned in my opening statement that once the details are worked out, we will definitely sort of come back to you at the right time. I think shortly, it'll be quite shortly, and we're going to focus on our latex, SBR latex, styrene acrylics, and NBR. This is going to be the focus of our expansion plans, and we'll come back to you with the questions that you've asked very shortly.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Bala Subramaniam from Arihant Capital. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, my first question regarding the capacity. I think our current capacity may be sufficient for next 1 or 2 quarters. You mentioned about some debottlenecking and all. So how much capex expected in this financial year, and how much is for growth capex, and how much is for replacement capex?
Yes, so I think we should have enough capacity for this year, for this financial year, and perhaps for some amount of next financial year as well. We will come back to you with, as I told the previous caller as well, Mr. Aditya, that we'll come back to you with the exact expansion plans perhaps by next quarter, or maybe even earlier than that if you're ready to announce.
Okay, sir. So long-term perspective, we are targeting around 14 to 15% kind of margins. Like, what are the levers in terms of product mix, fixed cost absorption? So what are the levers to achieve those margins, maybe in long-term perspective?
So one of the levers, of course, is nitrile latex margins. That we need to ensure that comes up to the mid-teens or early teens. In addition to that, focusing on some specialty, doing those to improve margins. And the third, of course, operating leverage will kick in. Already kicked in, I would say. It has been a challenging few quarters, of course, in terms of margins, mainly because of nitrile latex, but also because of capacity added for other products that we have added for SBR latex, VP latex, several other things that we have done in the last 2 years. So that capacity absorption takes time, and we have seen that as capacity gets to about 85-90%, then margins tend to improve as well. So that's what we expect over the next few quarters. So 3 or 4 things that help in improving margins over the next few quarters.
Okay, sir. So regarding that hybrid power projects, so like it's around cover 65 to 70% of Gujarat power plant needs. I just want to understand what kind of cost savings and how this will impact in upcoming years in terms of margins and cost savings.
Look, in terms of cost savings, it's not significant. That's not the main reason why we are doing it. One is to, of course, be a responsible corporate citizen and ensure that more and more of our sort of power comes from renewable sources so that we reduce our carbon footprint. That's the main reason. The total investment from Apcotex side for the Gujarat project is I think around 3.5 crores, or give or take 3.5-4 crores, and the payback and the IRR is very good. Obviously that will start kicking in from next year once the project is commissioned, but I don't think it will very largely impact the total EBITDA of the company. I think we've done it more from a ESG standpoint, and of course commercially it's very viable.
Okay, sir. So my final question regarding export side, I think US tariffs on Chinese gloves and latex have disrupted trade flows. We are seeing any pricing pressure in non-US markets because of redirected Chinese supply. And secondly, the recently Israel-Gaza conflict has impacted carpet latex exports, so especially on Turkey and Egypt side. And how this demand is really right now, any alternative markets we are exploring?
Sure. So to answer the first question, yes, the Chinese, the tariffs on China have sort of upended the glove supply chain overall, and our customers tell us that non-US markets there is more competition because of China. However, as we are a small percentage of the total glove latex manufacturing for gloves. So I think our customers are, overall I think there is a benefit with what has happened for our customers. But still there is a lot of overcapacity in the market, both on the glove side and the latex side. So that will slowly take some time for the capacity utilizations to go up. Obviously no new capacities have been announced. The second question on Egypt and Turkey, yeah, certainly our exports, especially to the carpet industry, have been affected. It's not that it has not been affected, but we're still continuing to do business. Maybe our volumes have dropped somewhat over the last 2 years, but but we continue to do business. Unfortunately, we can't make it up in specifically in the carpet segment because those are two large carpet manufacturing countries. Of course, to some extent, Saudi, UAE, where we continue to do business and grow that business.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question is from the line of Farooq Pandole from Avista Fund Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Abhiraj. Congratulations on the strong results. I just firstly wanted to ask about nitrile latex and what sort of level of profitability are we at this point, and what are the sort of signs that you see going forward?
Sorry, can you, Farooq? Voice is not very clear. Can you repeat that question?
Yes, sir. Farooq, sir, your voice is breaking.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my first question was on nitrile latex. What kind of sort of margin level are we at this point? Because obviously we've now come up to almost full capacity. And so what is the sort of way forward you feel given the experience of the last few quarters?
Okay. Any other questions?
And the other question is, I know you mentioned that you will revert with the capex plans, etc. But I just wanted to ask that would that mean that we will be running a higher debt equity going forward, or will we be largely able to fund things organically?
So as far as the nitrile latex, yes, it's at low margins. As I mentioned, it improved in Q4. Q1 was, actually deteriorated in Q1, to be honest, for nitrile latex overall margins. Again, Q2, we are seeing some small improvements, so let's see how the rest pans out. As I told the previous caller, that overall these economies of scale plus the main issue is overall market, honestly. So the market needs to improve for us to go back to about 12-15% EBITDA margins as we were expecting. And as far as the capex plan is concerned, it would be a combination of debt and internal accruals.
Okay, but do we see a substantially higher debt equity ratio going forward?
Not substantially higher. Our debt equity ratio is anyway very. Do you have one sec? Currently it's at 0.3, and
right.
It would maybe go up slightly in the short term, but not significantly.
Right. Okay, great. Thanks, Abhi.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Manav Vijay from MV Investments. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So, sir, first question is regarding the small investment that you have made for the wind power SPV. So, apart from this 3.4 crores, do you intend to invest more for such power going forward?
Yeah, hi Manav. Yes, our intention is to invest more. In fact, for Maharashtra, we were very close to also signing an agreement for our Maharashtra plant. Unfortunately, there have been some rule changes that have been announced recently, as a result of which we're just waiting to see how that lands. MSCDSL has made some rule changes on not allowing banking, etc., which has changed the commercials completely. So in the short term, maybe a Taloja plant, but in the long term, as our power consumption goes up in Valia with further expansions, then we would look at it, but not immediately, maybe after a couple of years.
Okay. My second question is regarding your freight cost. So now after power cost, this has become the second biggest item and is now almost equivalent to your power cost. So has the freight cost normalized because now exports are forming a large part of your sales, and going forward you're mentioning that exports will continue to move up?
Yes. Yeah, so what's the question, sorry?
So my question is, so has the freight cost normalized, all the volatility that we were witnessing, let's say, couple of quarters back, so that volatility has subsided?
Yeah, I mean, look, certainly things are not as bad as they were, just during like the post-COVID sort of years. And there are certain corridors, especially around the Suez Canal, where freight costs are still reasonably high, but they're settled. This is what it seems what it's going to be, I mean, unless those, as I said, the wars and all obviously will have an impact from time to time. These tariffs may have an impact from time to time, but it's not what it used to be that during that COVID period 2 years ago.
Sure. So my next question is regarding the ADD case that we were having, so that we had filed with the government. So any update on that, if you can share?
Yeah, so that's in sort of, I would say, advanced stages of the investigation. Definitely moved forward, and it's been about 9 months or so since, or maybe more, 9.5, 10 months since we initiated the case. Generally, these cases are, disposed within a year. So, if not a year, there might be a delay of a couple of months. I think in the next 2 to 4 months.
Hello?
Yeah, I said in the next 2 to 4 months, we should have an idea of how that pans out.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So my last question is regarding your X&B latex. So if you look at the results of some of these companies, like let's say your Top Gloves and the Hertilega types, so we said the volumes for them have moved up on a YY basis very strongly, but actually prices haven't. So is there any kind of a, let's say, discussion with, let's say, that you're having with them, that they are, let's say, telling you what kind of outlook that they are having on price improvement for next, let's say, 1 year or 2 years? Is there any kind of a discussion that you're having with them?
I mean, look, those are constant discussions, but they're all generally speculations, and we have seen in the past that customers have also been wrong both ways. Sometimes they're too pessimistic and suddenly things improve due to some reason. As I said, the tariffs, for example, in April has actually helped them in terms of their volume, the American tariffs on China. Now, some of these customers. But overall, as I said, the main issue seems to be, capacities that were created for gloves and for latexes in 2022, 2023. That slowly, obviously the utilizations have improved, but till they get to about 80-85%, these margins will be under pressure for sure.
Okay. So my last question to you. So in your annual report, you have disclosed that you had a 12 crores of export incentive, again a 450 crores of export sales, so which is about 2.5%. So that is the maximum benefit that we are eligible for?
Yes. That's the maximum benefit we're eligible for. Correct.
Okay. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Rohit from iThought PMS. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yes,
Rohit, go ahead.
Yeah. So, sir, just a couple of clarifications. So, you mentioned that we are pretty much almost at the peak utilization most of our products, and maybe another quarter or two, or maybe let's say 2-3 quarters, we'll probably get to the peak utilization. So, and you also mentioned that we will probably do some debottlenecking and some capex. So, at the same time, the margins for most of our products have not, especially nitrile latex, have not really improved. So, I mean, previously you had mentioned that you would sort of wait for the things to improve, especially on the nitrile latex part. So, can you just share your thoughts at this point of time? How are you thinking? Because as you have alluded that you've really improved on the top line, but the cycle has really not enabled us to get margins. So with more capacity getting added from our side, for most of the products we are the leaders. So how do you see the margins, except of course nitrile latex, but how do you see the margins evolution, and in that context, the capacity expansion that we're planning, let's say, in a year?
So obviously, we are not looking at expansion for nitrile latex at all. In the current context, it doesn't make sense. The expansion would be for other products that we are currently already in. And those products, even though there also some of the margins or EBITDA margins have not been as strong as they were, let's say, a couple of years ago, the returns on the investments, and as I said, once I have the exact numbers of the CapEx investments in crores as well as the additional volume and value that we would derive from this, even at, sometimes difficult margins, the return on capital or the IRR for these projects will still be, above our threshold that we look at while investing in any project. I hope that answers your question, but clearly we're not looking at any nitrile latex investments right now.
Okay. And in nitrile latex, what is the utilization that we are at, roughly?
We are at about 90. In Q1, we were close to 90%, or around 90%.
Okay, so we are pretty much... So I think, sorry, maybe I misheard you or I didn't hear you properly, but you said that margins will improve as utilizations inch up, right? So, but
what I meant is industry utilization, not company utilization.
Sorry. Okay, sorry.
So yeah, we've been fortunate. We honestly we have a small plant compared to some of the global giants. So, and we are the only company in India. Glove manufacturing in India has increased in the last couple of years. We are able to export to Southeast Asian countries. There is the India-ASEAN FTA, so there's no duties. Freight is quite reasonable to these countries. So as a result of which, we have been able to improve our capacity utilization, but the reason why margins have not improved is because of overall industry utilization rates. We're not able to drive the prices that we would want,
Right. And sir, how do you see the overall industry position? I mean, your customers, they must also be feeling under pressure in terms of low realizations. So there are no investments happening in the industry, of course, across the entire latex and entire gloves value chain. So the investments that happened a couple of years ago, that's being sort of slowly, utilized. The growth continues. If you see any report, there's double-digit growth in medical gloves. Obviously, there was this 1 or 2 years of this huge, one-time kind of bonus growth due to COVID. But obviously now it's normalized and the normalized growth continues. So we hope sooner than later, honestly. And any shutters, any capacity shuttering down because of this low pricing and low margins, either in nitrile latex or in glove? A company in Japan has announced that in 2026 they will come out of the nitrile latex business. Maybe it's an old plant. And any sense on what kind of capacity is that? Or I think these are all publicly available, so you can get this data. And sir, you're not sharing the quantum of capex yet, right? Or have you shared that? Not yet. We're not fully ready. We're just working out the last parts of the details. So perhaps in the next con call, or if you're ready before that, then we would inform the stock exchanges. And this would be largely brownfield. Sorry? Brownfield. This will be brownfield? Yeah, brownfield. For sure, brownfield, yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you very much and all the very best for the coming year. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Dhaval Shah from Girik Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So my question is with respect to the outlook on the ROC of the company. Since you are, on the drawing board for the capex plan, must be a better margin, better product. How do you see the ROC? If you see our historical ROC of the company has been 15-16%, and that was also the number for FY25. Leaving aside those 2 years of abnormal profits where we made very high ROCs. So, do you think that this number can inch up 2-3% higher or go towards 20%? How should we look at this going forward?
Yeah, so look, before we embark on any project, unfortunately the ROC has been lower and been pulled down by nitrile latex for the last couple of years. Otherwise, it would have been even higher. because there we have definitely not got the returns that were expected when we embarked on the project. Overall, when we embark on any new project, which is any significant investment, we look at an ROC of at least 20 to 25%. Between that number, below that we don't, that's generally our threshold. So the idea is to, if the returns on nitrile latex improves, and at least we feel confident in our brownfield side, we would be closer to 18-19% ROC, if not more. In fact, Q1 also the ROC I think has been 18+%.
Understood, got it. And sir, does your product go in for the application of this, new age manufacturing which is coming? The companies are putting up PCBA factories are coming up in India, printed circuit board, and then related electronic manufacturing. Anywhere there is an application of your product?
There is an application for in batteries, in these car batteries. I think specialty application. Unfortunately, it's not a big market in India. I think the large battery plants are in China and Japan, US, and so on. So while there is an application and we're working at it, it's not a big market in our sort of geographic strengths. But no, not the electronics manufacturing that you are talking about. No, the current products don't have any significant application there.
Okay, so the new project which you are working upon, so the applications will be similar to where they are. So what will be the major applicating end industry?
So it will be all our latex products other than nitrile latex. So it's paper, carpet, construction, textiles, and also NBR. So all kinds of rubber products, whether it's in automotive or industrial applications, in agriculture use. So all of those wherever NBR is used. So those are the two sort of main thrust areas for now for the upcoming capex.
Okay, got it, sir. Fine, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rudraksh Raheja from iThought Financial Consultancy. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, how do you see the pricing trend in NBR, not latex, NBR?
Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by pricing trend?
So, what I recall is that for the past few years, the pricing, we are almost at full capacity utilization in NBR. And you mentioned along the similar lines. So, I'm trying to get if there is any pricing improvement or any trend of increase in prices, so that would help our margins for NBR.
Pricing is a factor of many things. Obviously raw materials is a pricing factor. So when raw materials prices go up, NBR prices go up and vice versa. And as far as predicting where the price goes is very, very difficult. I would say in the last few quarters we've had some quarters where prices have suddenly fallen, like in Q1 prices have fallen compared to Q4. So it's very hard to predict because it's all linked to oil and downstream, not even only oil. I would say crude oil and downstream petrochemicals that are going to NBR, mainly butadiene and acrylonitrile. So hard to predict pricing.
Understood. And sir, any new specific applications for products that we are working currently, which could be exciting going into the future?
We don't talk much about that honestly because of competitive sort of reasons but we already have launched quite a few products in specialty applications. They're not large volume but specialty applications which could in the future have a lot of potential. So yes, that's true. But we'd rather not talk a lot about it right now. If there is anything significant to report, we'll let you know.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. Our next question is from the line of Deepak Ajmera from IGE India. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. If I heard correctly, you mentioned Japan, the nitrile latex capacity is coming in FY26. So
not
what's
thing is being shut down. It's being shut down in FY26. Sorry to cut you off, but just wanted to clarify.
Okay, got it. And what sort of capacity that is getting reduced? And
yes, sir, I don't have the exact numbers, but if you can look it up online, it's very, it's all available.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The next question is from the line of Om Prakash, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
नमस्कार अभिराज जी, क्या आप मेरी आवाज सुन पा रहे हैं?
हाँ जी ओम प्रकाश जी, बोलिए।
हाँ, सबसे पहले तो आपको इम्प्रूव रिजल्ट देने के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई।
थैंक यू।
4 क्वार्टर में प्रॉफिट आफ्टर टैक्स कंटिन्यूअस बढ़ रहा है, तो लगता है आगे भी ये बढ़ता ही जाएगा।
थैंक यू।
अगली बात ये कि अपने एपकोटेक्स फैमिली में विवेक ठाकुर जी के CFO बनाने के लिए उनका भी स्वागत है, और ठाकुर जी की कृपा से विवेक जी अपने विवेक का उपयोग करते हुए फाइनेंशियल मैटर्स को बहुत अच्छे से इम्प्रूव करेंगे, यही आशा करते हैं। बाकी हमारे सचिन जी का भी थैंक्स है कि बहुत अच्छे से उन्होंने मैनेज किया। और बाकी आपने जो पिछले कॉलर से उनको बता दिया कि अपना एक्सपांशन का क्या प्रोग्राम है और कैपेसिटी यूटिलाइजेशन कितना हो रहा है, तो लगता है सही डायरेक्शन में हम लोग बढ़ रहे हैं। बहुत ही खुशी की बात है।
थैंक यू ओम प्रकाश जी, थैंक यू फॉर योर सपोर्ट।
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Meera from an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Meera.
Yeah, so just wanted to know about APCOTEXIND and its update, like what is the revenue contribution and the growth prospects and the capacity utilization for APCOTEXIND.
Honestly, we don't give exact numbers because it's just a smaller part of Apcotex and we are not required to kind of give separate numbers right now. It has been challenging, I would say, in Q1. In general, the Indian market, as you would be seeing in generally all coatings and construction, has been a little challenging. So the growth has been a little muted. We have grown, but not significantly in Q1. We are also looking at some internal sort of manpower changes that we have made. So I'm quite optimistic that we'll be back on the growth pattern by the end of for the annual numbers will be good. But Q1 has been challenging on APCOBuild, honestly.
Okay, sure. And in general for our company, we see more growth in exports or in domestic market going forward?
Look, in the domestic market, we already have high market share in most of the products that we are in. So we are growing, I would say, along with the market, plus some increase in market share, that's generally the domestic, some new applications that, we have been adding over the years. That's the domestic industry growth. The one opportunity that does remain is NBR, where, we have a very low market share, not very low, I would say we have a lower market share, but 70% of the product is still imported from outside the country, so that remains an opportunity. We have, last couple of years, we've not gone ahead with the expansion because of, certain margin reasons. Now, we are reevaluating it as we speak. So yes, the growth is largely driven by exports, I would say, over the last couple of years. And definitely in Q1 as well.
Okay, sure. So you said that there is overcapacity and somewhat lower capacity utilization in for several players. So are these capacity utilization numbers improving for the competitors in nitrile latex? So we can see some margin growing forward.
They are improving. I don't know when. So as I said, in our case, we are at almost 90%, or we are at 90% capacity utilization. So we have done a bit, but overall in the industry, it remains tight. So we are not able to get that pricing that you would like to get, maybe $100-$150 more, than what the current prices are. So that remains a challenge. In the rest of the product range, which is it's more than 80% of our overall sale, there we are seeing some improvement in margin slowly as well as capacity utilizations increase.
Okay, so you are saying that in NBR we are having 70% sourced from imports, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the factors for which they are being imported and not being sourced domestically? Like, are the costs very low?
There's a lot of dumping happening as well, which is that's why we're fighting the anti-dumping case. For example, China has imposed a duty of, I think, anywhere between 12% to 20% on imports from Korea. So they have levied an anti-dumping duty, and it's been going on this is the 6th year. Been renewed after 5 years. So China is seeing, and so there are a lot of that material. So China imports from Korea have less than halved, become less than 50% of what they were, let's say, 3 years ago. Obviously, some of that material is finding its way into India and other markets. So India is a good market where, especially if they're fully export-oriented companies and countries, then they have no option. They don't have a domestic market, so they will get price at they'll try and get market at any cost or any price. So that's what we are representing to the government of India, and hopefully we'll see what happens.
Okay, so is there a big difference in the pricing of imports and or is it lower?
No, we are competing with them. Obviously, we would not have 30% of the market and not be running at almost full utilization for a while if we were not competing with them. But margins could be better if there's fair competition.
Right. So, and we are focusing on several products like paper, carpet, and other industries. So, where do we see usually the highest margin in general?
I've said this before. It's not by industry, and it varies quarter on quarters. It just depends on what's happening in those industries. So, I would say it's customer-wise. Sometimes if we have a specialty product, even within paper, we get very high margins for that. On average, I would say they're all very comparable. Paper has been a little lower over the last year and a half or so. Construction and carpet have been higher. Construction, carpet, textiles. But just because of the nature of the industries and more specialty products in those segments. So I would say in the last couple of years, paper has been the lowest out of these 4 segments at least.
Okay, sure. Thank you. That's my side. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Ladies and gentlemen, as there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you everyone for taking the time and attending our Q1 conference call. We look forward to seeing you in Q2. Hopefully, sometime around Diwali it'll be. So thank you very much, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. On behalf of Apcotex Industries Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.